Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am so glad you decided to click on this video. So you already read the title of this. I hit 800 subscribers, which was actually the goal I set myself for the entire year, and it is March 9th. So that was super exciting, and I decided I would do a Q&A. Fun fact, I actually reached 800 subscribers like a week ago, but then I posted a video very critical of Colleen Hoover and I like kept losing them. I would like gain a couple and then I would go back down and like listen. I've done the Instagram game here, so I know how it can just be so crazy to just be watching your follower count like go up and down and you're like, oh cool, I got 5 new ones, and then you're like, oh cool, I lost 6. So it's been kind of funny because I was quite excited about my 800, and then next thing I knew I was like at 798. So here we are. I'm at 801 as we speak, so hopefully by the time this video goes up we are at least still there, but it doesn't matter. Let's do a Q&A anyways. As per usual, sorry about the lighting. I'm in a hotel room and I have to work with what I got. Additionally, it's like been raining all day, so there is literally no natural light to be found. So let's just get into it. So these questions were all sourced from my Instagram stories. I posted a question where people could reply and give me questions they have for me. Additionally, I did a poll, whatever, a comment story. What are they called on YouTube? I don't know. Whatever that's called, to see if anybody on here had any questions. So that is where the bulk of these came from, and I'm an open book. Let's talk. So for this first part, I'm going to do all kinds of like bookish questions, BookTube and Bookstagram and all of that. So the first question is, why did you decide to start a YouTube channel? And the reason for this is pretty simple. I was on Bookstagram because I was reviewing books on like my personal Facebook and Instagram, and I was like, I don't think anybody cares about this. I'm gonna make a special Instagram for it. And then I found out about Bookstagram. I really thought that I invented it. So that was the whole thing. Got into that, and after being on Bookstagram for a while, I was like, I think I'm like a decent writer as far as book reviews, but I was like, there's so much other stuff that I would like to say about these books, but I don't know how to write it in like an eloquent way. I need to speak these words, which I don't know. I'm not a super great eloquent speaker either, but I think that it was just a little easier for me to like get my point across with like the tones I'm using and whatnot. So I think that that's kind of where it all began. And I have watched BookTube for like several years prior to making one, so I just figured it was time. The next question is, do you prefer reading third or first person fiction? And while I don't think I feel strongly either way, I do think overall I prefer reading first person fiction. I like to get in one character's head and like really see how they operate and like what their thoughts are. And I think you can also do that in like a third person omniscient, which I think maybe I enjoy as much. What I don't like is when we are like bouncing back and forth in the third person between all these different characters, and or even first person. I just like focusing on like 1 or 2 characters mainly, maybe 3 if it's like an ensemble piece. But yeah, I just get, I think a lot of stories lose something when we're trying to know too much about too many people, if that makes sense. Do you review every book you read? Now, I used to really finish a book and like immediately go write about it no matter what. And I lost some enjoyment, I think, in reading by doing that, because I was constantly thinking about like, what could I put in my review? Like, how could I frame this? How could I say this without spoilers and such? So the answer is absolutely not anymore. I think I probably review about a third, and I definitely try to review every book that I like get for free from a publisher or from NetGalley or whatever, but sometimes I just don't have much to say. And, you know, I want to do the book justice, and so if I write a review that I think just makes the book sound boring, even if I felt like it was fine. You know, I just feel weird about that. So most of the time I will still try to write a few lines at least to put on Goodreads or on like Amazon, but I won't necessarily dedicate a post to it on my Instagram, which is another reason why I like YouTube a lot, because it's a lot easier to kind of give books like that a little bit of airtime when it might not have been a book that like changed my life or I have just a ton of thoughts about. And I can still mention it and maybe somebody hears it and likes what I have to say and then goes and picks it up themselves. So that is why I don't necessarily review every book. And if it's like a library book or I bought it or whatever, if I have something to say, I'll review it, but otherwise, nope. What is your least favorite part of BookTube? Um, I think my least favorite part of BookTube is just how hard it is and how like I feel so clueless sometimes, a lot of the time, because I'm like, what am I doing right and what am I doing wrong? Like, I just feel like it's not as transparent as I would like it to be, because I just don't know that that's possible, because, you know, it's hard to know why some things go viral and some things don't. And I feel like I put so much work into my channel and it's fun, but it's like such a crawl to get any like new followers or subscribers, get a video that performs really well. And it's just, sometimes I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here, which, you know, it's really good that I'm doing this for my own enjoyment, because otherwise I think I would have quit a while ago. It's just like, I can't necessarily figure out what people want to watch. And I think something that I personally kind of, I don't want to say struggle with, but something that's a detriment to my success is that I don't really have like a niche within a niche. I am not a romance booktuber. I'm not a horror booktuber. I'm not like a fantasy booktuber. I kind of float around and talk about a lot of different genres. So, I mean, I have no plans to change that, but I think that like some of the channels that are a little more focused on one particular genre tend to do a little better. But such is life. Do you want to write books as well? No, is the short answer. Absolutely not. Sometimes I'll like have a little flash of an idea and I'll be like, ooh, that would be a cool book. But like, I would then have to write the book. And that seems hard and like not something I'm interested in doing. Additionally, I come up with a little like baby part of an idea and then I'm like, and then what happens? Because like I have no clue where to take the book from there. So no, I will never be writing a book unless something really crazy changes. What booktubers did you discover first? So my first like intro into booktube, I think, was Gabby Reads. Of course, I will link everyone down below, but if you're watching my channel, odds are you've probably seen them because they're much bigger than I am. But Gabby Reads, she does a lot of thrillers, some horror. She does a lot of manga lately. So if you are into that, definitely check her out if you haven't. She does a lot of vlogs, which I think are really fun, and she's just a really positive and fun personality to watch. She's also a huge Swiftie, just like me, so love that. She does some Taylor Swift content as well. I also watched Books and Lala to begin with. She is a Canadian booktuber. You might have watched her videos. She kind of does what I do as far as like a little of everything. She really focuses into like kind of weird books and like very just kind of out there concepts, speculative fiction. She does, you know, also do some mainstream stuff, but she reads weirder books than I feel like I generally gravitate towards, but I really enjoy her videos. She also comes up with like really unique ideas. Like she did one where she's like reading books that she liked in 5th grade, but like for different years. And then there was one where she's like, I went book shopping high and let's see if I like the books I picked out. Like she just comes up with really, really cool and different video ideas. Another one I watched a lot of before I actually made my own was Olivia Reads a Latte. She just has a fun personality. She mainly does vlogs and she just like is very open and transparent with everything about her life. She is really, really funny, and I just, yeah, I like what she does. She does a lot of like book shopping vlogs, a lot of just like regular day in the life stuff, and her aesthetic B-roll is just like perfection. So definitely check those guys out. There's way more. I'll definitely link some more booktube that I enjoy down below, but those three are a great place to start if you are looking for someone new and you haven't watched them yet. The last bookish question is very easy. It is paperbooks or hardcovers. I have a complicated answer because why wouldn't I? It's not really that complicated. I like paperbacks better to read, and I like hardbacks better for my shelf, which does propose a bit of a problem when I am deciding what to buy, because I've definitely like waited on buying a book to read if it's not out in paperback yet, because I'm just like, I don't want to hold that book while I'm like sitting there. It's heavy. My cat's always climbing on me to like sit on my little reading pillow where I balance it. So then I'm like, I have to hold it in one hand, and it's a whole thing. And obviously my life is extremely difficult. So the short answer is, I guess, paperbacks. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to prefer that. But then when it's time to put it on the shelf, I am sad. All right, the next kind of section on here are flight attendant questions. If you're new to my channel or somehow missed it, I am a flight attendant for a major international carrier. And the first question here is, how long have you been a flight attendant? I have been flying for just over 7 years, and I have been with my current company for 5 next month. In flight attendant land, that is not long at all, but for most people, like being, you know, in the same job for 5 years, or 7, I guess, it is respectable. So there's that. Has traveling led you to read about a certain city or from a certain author? And I kind of feel like this is like the opposite of what this question is asking, but like I feel like traveling so much has led me to want to read books set in like Philly, where I live, like more than other cities, because like it kind of makes me feel like I'm home, because I can like envision where different landmarks are, different places and like crossroads that books talk about. And so like I just really find that exciting and like just a really interesting and fun thing to read. I mean, it's always kind of fun to read any place that you're really familiar with, because you can really envision it and get a sense of putting yourself into the setting. But I think it's nice when I'm traveling to like have a little piece of home sometimes. Do you have a lot of downtime to read at work? I would say about 50% of the time, because there are, you know, really long flights where you know, do your service and then you're kind of sitting. Usually there's plenty of time on those flights to read. However, if you are with a really chatty crew and everyone's being loud, if the passengers are being kind of needy and they just keep coming back and asking questions or needing stuff. Additionally, if if there are shorter flights, a lot of times we do our service, pick up trash, and like maybe have like 15-20 minutes until it's time to land. So, and then in a situation like that, we might have another flight right after. There's like not really much downtime in between flights. And so it honestly really depends on what I'm flying. But overall, I will say I probably have downtime at work where I can read far more than most people do. What do you do on layovers most of the time? I feel like I document a decent number of my like layovers where I do anything worth noting. I would say a good chunk of the time I just sit in my room. It depends on how long it is and what area we're staying in, because if a layover is only about, I don't know, 12 to 14 hours, most of the time we're going to be at a hotel near the airport. If it's like a little longer than that, and depending on the airport, we will usually stay like downtown or in like a much more like populated area where there's more to do. So it really just depends. If we're by the airport, I'm almost always not going to leave my room. I pack food with me on trips so I can always have, you know, food with me and I don't have to eat out all the time. Most flight attendants, I would say, and pilots do that at least somewhat. I really try to only like maybe eat out once per trip, so sometimes it's easier than others, but I do a lot of staying in my room, reading, watching YouTube, watching TV, working on videos and whatnot. If I'm by myself, as in like I don't have a friend or anyone with me, sometimes I'll go get coffee, go try to find like a little bookstore if it's like a city that I know has a good one or trying to find a good one. I like to find breweries, go do that. And then of course there's stuff in other cities like last week, my friend McKenna and I ended up in Phoenix, and so we went to a spring training game, which was so fun. And, you know, that kind of stuff is awesome. During the summers, I love to go to baseball games in like any city I can, whether it's a minor league or a major league or whatever. It's just always really, really fun. So it just depends. Again, have you met any other flight attendants who like to read as well? Actually, a ton of them. Because that is something we do so much on planes, I think a lot of flight attendants are readers, and I've been able to kind of like chat about books with so many coworkers. It's really, really fun. Okay, that was the last flying question. Let us get into random questions. If you went to college, were you an English major? I was not. I was a dance major, and I didn't even read for pleasure that much until I graduated college. I always like would read, you know, for pleasure over summers on school breaks and stuff, but during the school year, I really didn't read much at all because I was drained from so many other academic things and extracurriculars and whatnot, so it just like was not a priority for me. The summer after I graduated, I was working at Disney World and I read for the first time the Harry Potter series, and that kind of like really got me to a place where I was always reading something. It wasn't like I am now where I'm like constantly reading in my spare time, but like I was always going through a book. What's your favorite ice cream flavor? So this is, I don't know. I mean, I'm really not a big dessert or ice cream eater. I'm definitely someone that prefers like the savory foods. And I also don't eat a lot of dairy. I am a vegetarian, but I'm not a vegan. I just don't like it. I have never liked milk. I don't like cheese, which is, I know, hot take. Actually, I'm very particular about the cheese that I will eat. I don't like cheese that is like really smelly, gross stuff. If it's melted and it's like mozzarella, parmesan, or cheddar, then I'll eat it. But again, it has to be melted. I don't know. People always are like, I don't understand your preferences. And I'm like, I don't either. But ice cream flavor, I would say either chocolate chip cookie dough or anything with peanut butter. What are your top 3 musicals? So I know I've talked a little bit before. I was a dance major. I did a lot of theater growing up and through adulthood, my young adulthood anyways. My top 3 musicals are probably Les Mis, gotta go Les Mis. Recent stuff, Hamilton, and I don't know, something old. Let's go with something older. Into the Woods. It's not really something older. It's like 88, but 87. I don't know. But yeah, let's go with those. What TV shows do you watch? I honestly don't watch that much TV. I am trying to watch more. If you watched my like video about why I'm trying to read less this year, that is a big thing I'm trying to, you know, do some of instead. So I feel like most of the TV that I watch is like reruns of old shows that are like comfort shows. The Office, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Law and Order SVU, but like season 8 and prior. My favorites. I love Hallmark Christmas movies. At Christmas time, I'd honestly probably still watch them at other times of the year, but I really don't like regular like Hallmark movies, only the Christmas ones. I absolutely love this show that I don't even want to talk about it because it's been taken off every streaming platform in the United States. So it's been a hard time for me and my husband because this is like our favorite show, but it's called Stath Lets Flats and it's a British comedy and it's just like it's hilarious. It's a really, really like particular type of comedy, but we just talk about it all the time and are always quoting it. And they took it off HBO Max, so now we can't watch it anymore. Favorite foods? I mean, would I be a millennial woman if I didn't say a Caesar salad, French fries, and a Diet Coke? But also pizza, because of course, pizza. So now you know more about me than you probably ever thought you needed to, and definitely more than you did need to. But this was fun. It was fun for me to talk about stuff that's not just books, and I hope you enjoyed learning a little about me. If you want to, down in the comments, I would love it if you would like answer any of these questions about yourself, because like I don't know, I feel like there's so many people on BookTube that I like know a lot about them as far as books go, but when it comes to anything else about their lives, I'm so clueless and I would love to know more. So please let me know in the comments. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, I would love it if you would, and make sure I stay above 800 subscribers. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!